Ahead with another guest, the presentation by Texochem Industries by Mr. Anuj Agrawal. Anuj Agrawal is director for Texochem Industries. Recently, we have become friends. We don't follow each other on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, but he just told me you can introduce me as your best friend. So I'm calling Mr. Anuj Agrawal. Let me talk good about you as I call you my best friend. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Anuj Agrawal. Anuj Agrawal has experience as a research scientist in sustainable technology in US, and now he serves as a director for Texochem Industries in Mumbai. And Anuj Agrawal has some special credential also is that he teaches also. So Mr. Anuj teaches paint and coating technology at UD His career reflects a deep commitment to advancing the industry. I'm very much sure whatever conversation I had with him last 10 minutes, now we are best friends. So yeah, make a little big round for my best friend. So we welcome you, Mr. Anuj Agrawal. Thanks.
Well, thank you for the introduction, and thank you AIPMA for giving us the opportunity to present on this platform. So I'll start right away because I just have a 10-minute slot, won't take much of your time. So I've been in the US for quite some time and come back to India say 3 years ago and joined a family business, Texochem Industries. Being with our own industry and seeing the Indian market has been quite a learning experience for me personally. What we observed in the last 3 years was that there's a big difference between how the R&D activities are being conducted between an MSME and the large-scale industries. So we've been trying very actively to minimize this gap by supporting the MSME with R&D support, updating them with new product developments, and also customizing certain raw materials for them so that they can have a differentiated product in the market. So we'll be talking about one of such R&D projects or the developments which we have done, which is developing a specialty core shell emulsion for paper barrier coatings. Now barrier coatings, thanks to the sustainability drive, has been gaining certain attention for the last 3 or 4 years in the market. And if we see, say about 3 years ago, EAA chemistry, particularly ethylene acrylic acid chemistry, had a big dominance. But even today, there's a big challenge about its availability and price. So we thought, why not find an alternative for EAA, especially for paper barrier coatings. So for developing such kind of a coating, it's important to understand what properties are we actually looking at. We need gas barrier properties. Gas barrier as in your moisture vapor and oxygen transmittance should be low based on the application demand. You need a good water and oil resistance property so that your paper will have a good durability and can serve its purpose in different applications. And heat sealing properties, which again differs according to the application, be it paper bags, pouches, cups. So it's again an application oriented thing, and it's only when you can achieve these 3 properties in a coating, you can think of replacing the plastic from the structure, packaging structure. So what steps did we take in developing this alternative EAA chemistry product? Using acrylic chemistry, which is not so challenging to source. We went for core shell polymerization technique. Why core shell? Because we know the barrier properties we just discussed have many contradictory properties which cannot be achieved by a single molecule. Say for example, you need a soft polymer so that you get good heat sealing. But it cannot be too soft because it will lead to blocking of your paper. You need a soft polymer and a long chain polymer so that you get good flexibility and crack resistance when the paper is being folded. But you also need a rigid molecule to provide the strength to the paper and be resistant to different kind of liquids and greases. So core shell becomes the ideal choice because we have a core and a shell which gives different set of properties individually. You have a core which will behave differently, you have a shell which will behave differently. There are different type of core shell polymers which can be formed multi-core, multi-shell, single core, multi-shell, etc. And that's where we need to optimize what kind of a core shell is going to be critical for your barrier coating application. Next, it's not just important to have a self cross-linking. It's a common term used in water and grease resistant coatings, that it's a self cross-linking polymer which will be able to resist harsh stains in water and hot water. But being self cross-linking alone is not enough. You need cross-linking with the substrate also. You need your polymer to cross-link with the paper substrate, the cellulose substrate, so that it does not leach out when there is exposure to hot water or even slightly acidic conditions. And the third point is to have a controlled particle size distribution. Why do I say controlled particle size distribution? Because when you have a controlled particle size distribution, a very narrow particle size distribution, the energy or the coalescence energy for film formation is very low. So you get a much better film formation which can fill in the pores of your paper substrate and give you a nice barrier film to prevent the contaminant molecules, which over here are grease or oxygen or other gas molecules, to pass through. So having a good particle size distribution is key, which can be achieved through a careful selection of surfactants, the processing temperature, and the RPM of your reaction. Here we demonstrate the performance of coatings developed through one of our core shell polymer. The first image over here is for demonstrating heat sealing, how the heat sealing is happening. We can see when the heat is applied, the shell breaks, allowing the soft core to fuse with the substrate, giving a good sealing bond. The second test over here is for grease resistance, which we have purposely carried out on the edges or the folds of a paper to show that the coating formed through this emulsion is resistant to cracking and effective in barrier protection, grease resistance. And the third test over there is for water resistance, which is done through a contact angle test. The contact angle seems good enough, say more than 100 degrees, showing its hydrophobic properties. So this is not just a lab product or a lab development. The images over here are on the product being used commercially on regular machines very conveniently. So it has been optimized for production scale. The table on the right shows some other properties which we'll discuss. Say for example, we can see the OTR value is pretty high. So yeah, our emulsion so far has not been optimized for oxygen resistance. There is still the work which needs to be done on it. But its moisture vapor resistance is pretty promising. Its biodegradability when coated on paper is greater than 90%. And repulpability, which is a test done for recyclability, is 99%. I would like to emphasize over here that this innovation of ours was also recognized and awarded last year by the IGCW Council, which is International Green Chemistry World Council, for its impact in sustainability for the printing and packaging industry. So I had to wrap up the technical part of the conversation because of the time constraint, but we can have a discussion one-on-one if someone is interested. Would just like to quickly go through what we at Texochem Industries manufacture. We manufacture core shell polymeric emulsions for applications like just mentioned. We have different emulsions for heat seal coatings, for paper heat seal, for blister heat seals, and other heat seal coatings. Polyurethane dispersions for high performance coatings, grinding and let down resins, emulsions for inks and varnishes, colloidal emulsions, thickeners, dispersing agents, and defoamers. So we are a completely water-based manufacturing company. We are not into solvent or UV kind of manufacturing. All the products being manufactured are water-based. I would like to thank our technology partners specifically. All the innovation and R&D we do is not just us. We have some very good partners associated with in the universities, both in India and the US. So we have a good pool of researchers, good pool of professors who are always there with us for all the developments, which help us to achieve our target of being an R&D oriented company and helping our stakeholders with similar kind of R&D. Thank you. That was a short presentation, and I hope I met my time. We are working with UDCT, NIT Warangal, HBTI, and University of Mumbai.
When you are developing these post-sale polymers, are you taking any reference point of any standard emulsion which is really, universally used for this achievement of barrier properties? And when you are showing a key value of 12 in this post-sale, but the OTR is greater than 500 plus. So, when you have a kit value of 12 and then OTR is greater than 500, I am not worried about the MBTR because this normally is okay. So, this product, are you referring to I don't know to tell the name, but are you referring any standard emulsion which is widely used for this application?
For the performance, we initially compared ourselves with EAA-based chemistries. Typically, there weren't any acrylic core shell emulsions to be compared with. So we developed a core shell acrylic emulsion and compared the properties, say the heat sealing strength, the blocking resistance, the kit value with EAA-based products available in the market.
Okay, and what application GSM you apply to achieve this kit 12?
So it's a 6 to 7 GSM dry coat rate. Any other questions? Thank you.
Anuj. So I'll request Mr. Bhaumik Mehta sir to please felicitate Anuj. Anuj is my best friend.